Support for Headline Humboldt is made possible in part by viewers like you. Thank you.
Coming up on Headline Humboldt, the Eureka City Council learns how its municipal zoning code was originally meant as a way to keep races segregated. Also, we interview KMUD News Director Lauren Schmitt on her recent coverage of 2 horse deaths at the Humboldt County Fair racetrack and how she learned those deaths were preventable. Coming up now on Headline Humboldt. From the top of Humboldt Hill, this is Headline Humboldt. I'm James Falk. Thanks for joining us. The legacy of a troubled and discriminatory past is all around us. We're broadcasting from land that was taken from the Wiyot tribe, and the entire North American continent was stolen from Native Americans who were already suffering and dying due to the diseases we brought over from Europe and beyond. In virtually every segment of society, every corner we consider, there are remnants of an unequal and overtly racist local and national history. These old wounds often linger longer than we realize, continuing to damage both the original perpetrating class and the intended victims. This week, in a quiet hearing at Eureka City Hall, the City Council heard a fairly lengthy report on zoning. Mere mention of that word causes most people's eyes to glaze over, their brains to seize up, and tongues to loll. Suffice it to say, city planning is not the stuff of adventure novels or high-octane action films. Yet those zoning rules and classifications have a profound impact on how we live, on how we can even think about living, because they shape our neighborhoods and living spaces, giving form to the daily exchange of goods and services. At this hearing, Council heard the disquieting story of how much of the zoning law we still use today arose more than a century ago out of a desire to keep white neighborhoods white and exclude the growing number of African Americans who were then fleeing the southern United States. Even after that kind of social engineering was outlawed, the rules still stood and continued to have a toxic impact on communities across the country. In order to fix many of the inequities that continue to plague this nation and its people, we need to rethink how we establish and run our communities and start with a fresh look at the rules behind who lives where and why. Our interview today is with Lauren Schmitt, news director from local public radio station KMUD. She's done amazing work recently on 2 preventable horse deaths at the Humboldt County Fair racing grounds and on exploring what those deaths reveal about the culture and condition of that sport. But first, the news. 2 Humboldt County residents have officially been charged in federal court for taking part in the January 6, 2021 insurrection at the U.S. Capitol building. Kristen Cunningham, known as Chris, and Stacy Urhammer, a couple, were charged with entering and remaining in a restricted building, with doing the same in a Capitol building, with disorderly and disruptive conduct in a restricted area, and with parading or picketing illegally in a Capitol building. The 2 were spotted repeatedly in surveillance video from the day. Overall, they spent a total of 40 minutes in the building. According to Bay Area TV station KBVU, Cunningham, 53, and Urhammer, 54, were turned into the FBI in 2021 by a tipster who knew them. Instagram messages between the 2 were found where Urhammer indicates it was her idea to attend while Cunningham joined in to protect her. The maximum penalties for each of those first 2 charges include imprisonment for up to a year, probation for up to 5 years, and a fine of up to $100,000. The second 2 charges each have a maximum penalty of 6 months in prison, 5 years of probation, and $5,000 fines. Acknowledging that local governments have enormous power to shape people's lives through zoning rules and other types of city planning, the City Council this week heard how Eureka developed the way it has and how it might change in the future. The Council this week heard from urban design consultant and UCLA professor Gaurav Srivastava, who outlined in detail how the primary planning classifications used by cities today, including Eureka, have roots in prejudice and segregation. The R1 zoning designation stands for residential, but it may as well stand for racism.
Planning, as we know today, especially single-family only residential zoning, originally emerged from policy objectives that were intentionally racist and segregationist. And a good place to start that discussion is with the Great Migration of the early 20th century. So this was the migration that saw Black families from primarily the American South migrate to cities across the United States. It's a historical marker in the evolution of the American city. Between 1915 and 1970, about 6 million Black Americans moved out of the South to cities in the Northeast, Midwest, and the West. The cities that they migrated to were predominantly white, and in the early 1900s, the residents of these cities reacted in predictable ways. And that reaction was essentially a backlash against differently colored Americans coming to reside in their cities. A policy objective of city elites then was to segregate the newcomers from the predominantly white neighborhoods of these cities. And this policy objective was implemented through very explicitly racial zoning. So 100 years ago, cities like Baltimore, St. Louis, which are just two examples that are on this slide, were able to utilize explicitly racial language in their municipal code to craft ordinances to enforce segregation. And I just want to note that it is no accident that the explosion of zoning ordinances and the emergence of planning as a profession in the early 1900s, 1910, 1920s, coincided with the early years of the Great Migration. After racial zoning was made illegal in 1917, cities at that time still had the same policy objectives. So they found workarounds on how to achieve those segregationist objectives. So Atlanta in 1922 is a good example of what workarounds cities employed to achieve segregationist policy objectives, while also providing a glimpse into the etymology of R1 zoning. So as we all know, R1 zoning is now the universally accepted shorthand for single-family only zoning. The city of Atlanta in 1922 created a plan that shows the direct linkage between racial segregation of then to the R1 zones that ostensibly are race neutral that we still continue to use. The use of class and income as a proxy for segregationist policy objectives. And cities across the country, and yes, including Eureka, continue to use the system of R1 zone nomenclature, and they're almost always oblivious of how it came about and what its original intent was.
Srivastava pointed out that the city of Eureka itself played a major role in the establishment of rules that targeted minority populations and made it harder to develop low-income housing projects.
In our research, we found an interesting role that the city of Eureka played in these planning dynamics in the first half of the 20th century. So in 1950, California voters approved Prop 10, which is now enshrined as Article 34 of the state constitution. And what Article 34 states, and it's still in place today, is that if a public entity proposes to develop low-income housing in any jurisdiction, then that proposal has to be approved by the voters of that jurisdiction. The intent was to clearly create barriers to creating low-income housing across cities in California. And it stemmed from a 1949 proposal in Eureka to develop 500 units of low-income housing by the Eureka Housing Authority. Local opposition then led to it becoming a statewide issue, and eventually this issue made it to the ballot, and it was approved by California voters by a slim margin, and it's still in place.
And other cities looking to shed the legacy of this problematic history, Srivastava said the city may have to consider resurrecting now obsolete zoning classifications that allow for more creative and inclusive uses of property. The old racist rule of one family home for each developing lot, or R1 zoning, will have to be rethought.
Given the baggage that R1 carries, what potential pathways are available to consider? So we know that Eureka has a really unique historic building stock of small-scale residential development. It's now commonly referred to as missing middle, but this was built in Eureka in the 1800s and 1900s. Before 1953 and 1966, that kind of development has not been built or seen since 66 because of burdensome regulations and barriers to development. What I will say is that given the experience and proactive efforts of other cities who want to get on the right side of history, somewhere on the road ahead, there is an opportunity to re-legalize housing types that existed naturally in the city of Eureka, that were integral to its origin story, that were characteristic of its building form. And it's a discussion, I think, that we're happy to participate in, and I'm sure the community will also would like that.
We'll be right back after this short break.
Join us for Leonardo Da Vinci Day on Saturday, September 28th at the Humboldt County Library. Enjoy a fun, family-friendly event with hands-on activities for kids inspired by Da Vinci, presented by KEET TV, the Kiwanis Club of McKinleyville, and the library. At noon, join Headline Humboldt host James Falk for a screening of the new Ken Burns documentary, Leonardo Da Vinci, followed by a panel discussion with local experts. You can register at keet.org.
This travel moment is made possible by viewers like you. Stay tuned for more information.
Joining us now in studio is Lauren Schmitt, KMUD News Director. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So it's my pleasure to have you here. KMUD is our sister public broadcasting station, and we haven't had you guys on our show before, so thank you so much for coming in. And we're kind of doing a little bit of a partnership, so I appreciate that, although all this work is yours, so let me be clear. So you've recently been reporting a story where there were 2 horse deaths at the Ferndale horse racing track, and that it was determined through the authorities that oversee that operation that those deaths were likely preventable. Let's start from sort of a global perspective and talk about how you first heard about this story, and as we spoke before, you sort of unraveled a narrative that was really compelling, so maybe we can start there.
Yeah, it's interesting. I want to give a shout out to Ray Hamill of HumboldtSports.com. He also freelances for us at KMUD and does a weekly sports report.
He was my sports editor when I was at the Times-Standard, so I know Ray. He's a good guy.
And almost as a side note, in his report, he stated that, this year at the Ferndale tracks, fun turned to tragedy when 2 horses would be euthanized due to injuries they sustained in these races. Yeah. Of course, that's going to pique anyone's interest.
Yeah,
and to avoid any kind of social loafing, I decided to try to find out more. Ray had cited a press release, and I was actually surprised to see that press release did not come from the Ferndale Fairgrounds. It did not come from the California Horse Racing Board. It came from this activist group called Kill Racing, Not Horses. They actually shared a bunch of knowledge with me. But there's so much more to this story. So we reached out to the California Horse Racing Board and their spokesperson, Mike Martin. He was a wonderful resource on this piece, and we spoke at length. And really, anytime there's an equine athlete that's euthanized due to an injury at the racetracks, they describe it as preventable. Yeah. That said, every different instance is going to be different, right? Yeah. There's different contributing factors. A lot of times they are multifactorial. 2 horses were killed this year.
And that's Arctic Fire and Visual Display. They were in 2 separate races, right?
Correct. And so when I spoke with the California Horse Racing Board, they really zeroed in on Visual Display. He was a 12-year-old quarter horse racing at the Ferndale Fair.
And as we discussed, quarter horses race, but they're not the thoroughbreds that we often think of as the big stars of horse racing.
Exactly.
It's another brand of racing, basically.
And for folks, who might be like me and we're unfamiliar with horse racing and horse culture, racing a 12-year-old horse is really just shocking.
Yeah.
To hear their response, honestly, they were really disappointed that was allowed to happen, and it kind of slipped through the cracks, right? Yeah. The California Horse Racing Board regulates racing in the state, but county fair racetracks are slightly less regulated. Yeah. In commercial racing, there's rules and regulations. A 12-year-old horse would have never been racing in a commercial track.
At a normal track, But we set our own rules at these local fair racing grounds, and so sometimes things like that go, unfortunately.
And today, actually, at the regular meeting of the California Horse Racing Board, they are going to be discussing this and trying to pass new rules to ensure that this preventable death wouldn't happen, and establishing an age limit. Whether that's 8 years old or 9 years old, we're not sure yet.
Okay.
I tried to actually tune into that meeting before coming here, and their feed dropped due to technical difficulties. So that report from KMUD News will be forthcoming in the coming days.
Yeah, so please check it out as you should with all of her work. So now, real quick, can we talk about how these particular horses, they were musculoskeletal injuries, both of them?
Yes, so at the time of this report, we reported that visual display was actually the 55th horse death in the state of California associated with racing.
That's 55 deaths, and as you told me, that number has since gone up.
And that was within a 34-week period, kind of when the horse racing season started. Checking today before coming on air with you, that number is now 59. So that's 59 deaths within a 36-week period.
And that seems like a high number. Is that, how would that compare to normal year? Is that a normal year?
So I'm glad you asked, right? Because we've actually seen a 55% reduction in horse fatalities, again, associated with racing, since new rules have been implemented. Those rules started to really, the Horse Racing Board really began having a mission more focused on safeguarding horses than economic factors when it comes to races.
For money, right? Basically.
Just a quick side note. So in 2019, I believe it was 20 horses died within one meet at a Southern California track.
Wow.
And it really sparked outrage.
Yeah, rightfully so.
And so the governor, recognizing that change needed to occur, appointed Dr. Gregory Ferrero.
Who was a veterinarian.
For over 50 years.
Yeah.
And specifically, he was a horse vet. Okay. So he obviously has deep ties and love for
horses, and wants to protect them, it sounds like.
And that was in 2019, and when I looked at his first message in his annual report as chairman, he was upset.
Yeah.
He was extremely upset and said, on a normal year, I would, the chairman would be giving an update on how much money we've made and, what we're going to project into the future. But he explicitly stated, this is not a normal year and change needs to happen, and listed a whole slew of regulations he was going to begin to implement to really safeguard horses. And now, if you look at their website, for the California Horse Racing Board, their mission is very clear on its main website now, to safeguard horse lives. Again,
but we still had 59 deaths this year.
Exactly.
And that's an improvement. So this is a huge problem.
So I will note, since 1994, we've seen 24 horse deaths at the Ferndale Fair alone. Wow. We're a local news outlet, so I really wanted to hyper focus on the local numbers versus statewide. But it's important to note that we really only had people tracking horse fatalities since the 90s. You can find annual reports all the way back to 1938. This industry is almost 100 years old, and it was only until the 90s, about 30 years ago, they actually started keeping track of the numbers and the metrics of fatalities we see on tracks.
So when there's been over 100 years of racing, who knows how many horses died before we ever started counting those figures. Now, we talked a little bit before the show also about some of the pressures that might have been brought to bear in making the decisions to race these horses. There were a couple of factors that maybe should have made them not race that day. One was the age, as you mentioned, but there was another issue, right?
There was. So going back to that devastating year 2019, that was in Santa Anita, and we saw 20 horses die in one meet, right? This stretch of racing at this one particular track within a few weeks, right?
Yeah.
I wanted to know, what was the contributing factor, right? What caused this spike? And then looking at our numbers, specifically at Ferndale, this was one of the deadliest years on record. The deadliest year we ever saw was in 2000, and 3 horses died. Sometimes, 24 in total. Sometimes years, there's stretches without fatalities. Yeah. And this had been one of the deadliest years we'd seen in a while. I believe it was the year prior, Ryan Burns of Lost Coast Outpost did a really great story. A horse actually was injured and had to be euthanized on the track.
Yeah.
Really upsetting members of the audience who kind of swore off participating.
Yeah.
But again, what happened at that Santa Anita track, and why, can this give us insight to why we've seen a recent spike in these local fatalities? Visual displays age. But what about Arctic Fire? A 6-year-old mare, what happened to her? And I remember reaching out to the California Horse Board, and Mike Martin was kind of getting at me. He says, "You're asking the wrong questions," and kind of hung up on me. Bless his heart, I was probably annoying him, but it got me thinking, like, what are the right questions? What do we need to find out? So I actually contacted Ray Pollock of the Pollock Report, and he's a California-based journalist that has been covering horse racing for over 40 years. So surely he might have some insight. And those 2019 major spikes in fatalities were associated with inclement weather and horses racing in inclement weather, which sparked, once again, these new rules. So it got me thinking. Opening day of the Ferndale races was when we saw that record-breaking rain. 1.19 inches. That was in Eureka, so give or take for Ferndale. Ferndale likely saw more, just being in its range there, so close to the King Range.
Yeah, absolutely.
So 1.19, that is an excessive amount of rain. And when I looked to the California Horse Racing Board's inclement weather policy, and it explicitly states that there shouldn't be racing or even jogging allowed for 24 hours when something like this is predicted and or occurring.
Wow. Now, are they bound by those rules and policies, or because they're a state fair or a county fair, it's like advisory? How does that? They're supposed to be bound by it.
Yeah, that's a great question, and I think that's exactly what they're going to be discussing at today's board.
Gotcha.
And at Alameda, so not only did we see the spike at the Ferndale County Fair, there was another county fair that occurred right before Ferndale's that saw 6 horse deaths. So these are county fairs, and it's really gotten the attention of the California Horse Racing Board to say there needs to be more oversight, there needs to be more regulation, right? And going back to your question about pressure that may have been put on Ferndale, this was one of the only years we didn't see overlapping races at this track.
So they were the only race going on at that time, so they were the center of attention from bettors all over the state.
And so if folks are unfamiliar, the horse racing industry is worth over $2.5 billion. So this is, important to California's economy, to tourism. And horse race betting is the only legal form of gambling sanctioned by the state, of course, barring sovereign nations and what occurs on them.
And so when you had mentioned to me before the show also that the only other time that Ferndale had a year where it wasn't competing with another racetrack, that the money it made that year was through the roof, right?
It was $10.8 million.
Yeah, which was a lot more, 100 and something percent more.
132% more than what we saw in 2009 that had overlapping races, and specifically overlapping with the fields in the Bay Area, Golden Gate Fields. They actually closed after a 87-year run because it just wasn't it wasn't penciling out financially. They were setting purse schedules higher than what was being wagered, if you will.
So they were losing money over time, and so it became
So they closed it. So this is the first year since 2010 we saw that non-overlapping races. So there was a lot of economic pressure on Ferndale to have a great meet. So
to cash in a little bit on all of that opportunity, because like you mentioned, all the bettors were placing their attentions on Ferndale for the first time in 15 years.
And of course, I don't want to assume that people turned a blind eye to regulation, but it's difficult when you reach out to the entity to try to find information and they don't respond.
Yeah, and you mentioned several questions that you put past them, and you just got dead air. There was no response to your repeated questions.
Unfortunately.
So we've only got a couple of minutes left. I mean, time flies when you're having fun. But what's the next step for this story? I know that you are passionate about this and you plan on to keep following. What's your next move, do you think?
Yeah, and I also just want to be clear. I don't want to project my own feelings about horse racing in this story, in this piece. I really think the facts speak for themselves, and the public and the legislature should decide how to move forward. Yeah. Racing is a big part of California culture. It always has been, but there's definitely a dawning of a new age where we're seeing less interest in it. And there's not a lot of attention on it. So maybe some things are slipping through the cracks. Yeah. So with this story, there's definitely more questions than I feel like I even have answers. And again, today, the California Horse Racing Board held its regular meeting. I'm looking forward to reporting on that, so folks can stay tuned. To see what we learned from that. Again, we're expected to see Dr. Gregory Ferrero issue these new rules as a direct result of what occurred in Ferndale. Yeah,
it's interesting to me, we were talking a little bit before the show again about the cost-benefit analysis of when you're a person owning a horse and they race and they fall down and they hurt themselves. Rehabilitating a horse is an expensive proposition. Right. And it seems to me that maybe that shouldn't be based entirely on profit and loss as to whether or not these horses who've worked their entire careers to make people money are euthanized. And that's an opinion of mine, but maybe there would be a way to have some sort of collective purse or something designed to provide for those expenses when a horse gets injured rather than just shooting them in the head.
And there are... Tragic. They were euthanized, so they weren't.
They don't do that.
They were euthanized.
Too many cowboy movies. It's not funny, but
and it goes to the school of thought between doctors, right? Some doctors will say it's ethical to rehabilitate. Water therapy. There's a big movement with that, actually. Instead of just euthanizing a horse, but there's other doctors who disagree. I'm not a vet. Yeah. So I'll leave that up to the professionals.
Yeah, absolutely. I deeply appreciate you coming in and sharing the story. Well done, well reported, and I particularly love the narrative of you getting onto the story and following it up and encountering people who don't want to talk and hanging up on you, and you persevered and pulled together a really fantastic journalism job, so thank you.
A lot of times they say journalism is nonlinear, but I have to disagree because this story in particular was very much a journey and kind of a investigation, and if folks listen to the piece, we definitely take you on that journey, and please give it a listen and make up your own mind.
Yeah, and now people can do that at KMUD.org, is that right?
Correct. KMUD.org, and you'll find it all there.
Yeah, and I encourage people to find KMUD.org and support them just like you support KEET, because they are real people doing real work for this community. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it for this week. Unless you've been buried in the salt mines, you've seen that the question of UFOs and potentially even non-human intelligence has been a major national conversation this past couple of weeks. Former defense official Lou Elizondo has published a memoir, and it makes a number of startling assertions. If you want to learn more about this topic or even consider a wide range of related ontological questions about humanity, life on Earth, and what it means to be, give our podcast a follow. You can find it all on your podcast apps or by visiting youtube.com/@neongalactic. Stay tuned, stay informed.